How's it going, everybody? DJ K DuB Omaha, Wired Access Podcast with the All Axcess Granted.
I didn't want that to be the standard. I didn't want someone else in the room to set the standard. I always wanted to do that.
The journey to get there, I think, is something, that is amazing, Nick.
Let's get this podcast started.
That is right. It is DJ K DuB Omaha here with Wired Access, All Axcess Granted. Thanks to Character Chronicles. You can find us on his website. But today we have Raw, Real, and Tay Axcess, as we have future Husker Tay Ellis from Crawley. Tay, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Man, from Texas, wide receiver. You know, what I loved about what you're doing out there, normally I stick to a lot of people that have already played for Nebraska, that have already are a part of the state of Nebraska, just because I don't like to interfere with a lot of the process, especially for you young athletes that's going on out there. And I'm sure you've experienced, just like the next, all the crazy recruiting process. And of course, everybody wants a piece, but do they really want the real Tay to be a part of their team? Of course, you chose Nebraska. I want to say thank you for choosing that, but I really like what you and some of the other 27s are out there doing and really trying to let people know that the change is real. Obviously, we're seeing the production this year. Talk about yourself. I mean, you finished up your junior season. You played down in Texas, which I've never played in Texas. Of course, we all hear about Texas. You're in 6A, which is the highest division, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Texas. Now you're across town. I kind of looked up Crawley and saw at North Crawley, you guys had good old Johnny Football, that played in the city. When it comes to a high school, let's start there. I mean, how did you choose which high school? Is it based off location? Is it based off of things that you saw that you wanted to do? How did that come about for you?
Well, I chose my high school based off of one, the people, two, just the opportunities that I would have. I really wanted to play early coming into my high school, career, and I felt as though like I would be able to play early. So with Coach Land, which is my head coach now at Crowley High School, he really trusted me as a freshman. He trusted me to come in and play in the highest level of Texas high school football. And before he was got hired on at Crowley, he was the head coach at Cedar Hill, and they won 3 to 4 state championships while he was there. So he's always had a winning pedigree, and I feel as though like he's one of the best coaches in Texas football history. So that's why I just picked them over my crosstown rivalry, which is North Crowley.
So of course, growing up, you did you play multiple sports? What was your sports growing up prior to high school?
Football and I ran track. In football growing up, I moved to Texas when I was 11. I'm originally from Arkansas. Many people don't know about that, so that's where I'm from. I started off playing the offensive line. I really didn't get as much playing time. So, we went to another Pee Wee team, which was the Colts here in Texas. I went there, played defensive end, played a little bit of tight end. Then I went to the Burleson Raiders, played tight end, played a little bit of receiver. But then I really started just focusing on just receiver and running track my sixth grade year in middle school.
See, and what I love about that there, of course, this is part of your story, Tay, but it's a part of a story for many athletes, right? Like everybody thinks that if you're a wide receiver and you get a D1 offer, you've been a wide receiver all your life. But what you learned was from the other positions, you learned a lot of discipline, I'm sure. And then you were able to throw in with track things that you can adjust on your wide receiver. So then it grew you into the total athlete that you are today. When you think of like doing the line, what's some things that and obviously you were a young age, but you still have to remember some of it of what's some things that kind of go unseen for even your offensive line? Because obviously we know without an offensive line or even defensive line, that's where the trenches and everything starts to be successful. And if you can't understand that and you think I'm a skilled player, it's just about get me the ball, I think you lose touch with that part of football.
Yeah. Well, I feel as though many receivers don't understand the aspect of how big the offensive line is. As receivers, we have this, diva type of mentality where, we blame the quarterback, we blame the offensive coordinator, we blame people around us. But truly, without the offensive line, we wouldn't see the ball. Without the offensive line, we probably wouldn't even get off the ball. So the offensive line is the biggest part of an offense besides the quarterback position. The offensive line truly is a gift, and also many people don't know that it's a brotherhood. Many offensive lines, you go Big Ten, SEC, ACC, don't matter where it is. Many offensive line, they always hang together. You always see them, with each other, whether they're starting, whether the left tackle, the center, whether they're on the bench. Every offensive lineman, you're always going to see them with each other because that's a true brotherhood right there. That five is nothing like that five in the whole world. So there truly are, a brotherhood, and they have to work together just to be able to get me the ball. So I'm very grateful to have a great offensive line.
And what I love about it is you're speaking on it, one, from understanding, from the outside looking in, not knowing any history about you. You're talking ages above who you are today. Obviously, a junior in high school, getting prepared. You just finished up your junior season. You're averaging 12 to 14 yards a catch. I mean, you're a very productive guy, but you understand the game where if you were to be that diva type, the amount of success doesn't always go with that diva type. What's some examples that you've been able to follow, or where did you kind of, was it just playing the position that gave you that kind of build up and that fill in? Because like I said, man, you're talking out of box and out of pocket that most people don't do.
Yeah, well, I feel as though I could speak like this, just coming from that offensive line perspective. I mean, many people didn't grow up playing offensive line. That's just, one of anything. So it's already crazy to say that now I'm a receiver and I used to play offensive line and defensive line. So I know the game just outside of the offensive perspective and outside of the defensive perspective. I know the game outside of a receiver perspective, so I can give people pointers at any perspective because I've probably played it all. So I would say like the biggest thing about playing offensive line would just be the brotherhood. A lot of receiver rooms don't have that. So that's what I'm looking forward to bring into Nebraska is the brotherhood, because that's what I brought to my high school, Crowley High School. That's what I brought to my middle school, Alley Middle School. So I'm looking to bring that at Nebraska as well.
It's a culture, and it's sometimes become contagious, right? People want to be a part of it. Of course, you're going through it right now with some of the peer-to-peer relationships that you're building, and obviously you guys are trying to get a good, strong class. When you look at the years previous for Nebraska and what you know of Nebraska, how did Nebraska even end up on your radar? Because a lot of people, I just did an interview last week with Jordan Westerkamp, a great wide receiver for Nebraska, and he said he had no clue where Nebraska was, what it was, until they sent him a little zip drive. Now, of course, that's way over before your time, and you could get the all the film you see and all the video. But how did you come about Nebraska and hear about them?
Well, many people don't know that Coach McGuire offered me. Coach McGuire, which is Coaches McGuire's son, offered me, which is his name is McGuire, his last name is McGuire as well. So when he was at Nebraska, he was the running back coach, and he came down to Crowley and he offered me. And from that moment forward, I've never heard from Nebraska until I got that offer. Well, Keith Williams, he played at Nebraska, went to the league. He came, sat there in front of me, and he told me, he was like straight up. He asked me a question. He was like, "Tay, do we Nebraska genuinely have a chance with you?" And from that moment forward, I told him, I was like, "Yes, you." Well, I didn't tell him necessarily yes, but I told him like I'm not like other recruits. I don't believe in logos. When I pick a school, I don't see logo. I see real or fake. And from that moment forward, I saw Coach Williams as a real genuine coach.
And of course, you incorporated track and field. How did you get into that? Of course, it is a common thing for a lot of wide receivers, but you're coming from the line. You're coming from someone that's kind of grown yourself to become the wide receiver shape. How did track and field become into your life?
Well, I started running track and field at a young age. I feel as though I was always fast. When I was, I believe, 11 years old, I ran the 100 and the 200. And I won the national championship my first year. It was down in Florida. So I ran the fastest time. I ran the fastest time both in the 100
Offensive
and the
line
200.
too?
Yep.
Come
So it was
on,
it,
man.
it's just been up ever since.
Okay.
Track was my first passion. I really loved track more than I loved football at the time, just because of where I was. I was on the offensive line. Wasn't getting in the game as much, so track really stepped up for me, and that really became my first passion back then. But then, as I just kept sticking with football, that became my passion.
When you look at track, what do you think that does for a mental for someone who has only played team sports? Of course, there is a team aspect to track. Don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of individuality, and what I mean by that is it can go back to your diva, right? It could be where you're a diva type of runner, or you're one that just always looks to beat your time, and the only person that you're always challenging is yourself that looks in the mirror. What was that like for you?
Well, what it was like for me, it was just track was me versus me. Nobody else can come out there and help me run fast. Nobody else can come out there and help me be explosive out the blocks. Nobody else can come out there and help me finish. It was just me, my coach, and training. So, I look at track as though like it's me versus me. That's my mentality on the field as well. So that's where I got that me versus me type of diva mentality, was just from track. Winning, beating everybody, being super competitive, always talking, before I even ran. So that's just always been my personality.
So, of course, you talked about a little bit about the recruiting process. When it comes to the recruiting process, if you look back to freshman Tay, is there anything that you wish freshman high school athletes would understand about a recruiting process? Because I think it's just like anybody. We've said it for years. As we get older, we kind of feel like the word doesn't mean something, but every year matters. And it's not about whether you're playing every single play or anything of that sort, or did you get the top stats, but every progression through freshman, sophomore, junior matter and can totally change from where you are freshman year as far as offers to where you become in your junior year. What was that like for you, that if you could look back to a freshman Tay and go, what's one thing that you wish you knew that you know now?
I feel as though I wish I knew just being humble and staying patient. A lot of times I was very impatient as a freshman. Especially in the seventh grade, I seen countless of people in the seventh grade get offers in Texas, which happens one of one. But I thought that I was one of them ones. I thought that I was one of the best in the state of Texas at the time. So I always was big headed. I always thought that, why is this not me? And having a support system that I had, like my mother, she definitely had a big toll on me, with just keeping me humble and letting me know that my time is coming. And when my time came, I capitalized on it.
Now, of course, you talked about the strength of, your mother explaining it to you. When it came to coaches, how was the coaches' support on this to understand as well? I say this because people don't understand. They think coaches have all the answers, and they have a lot of answers, but they also have, depending on the school. Obviously, you're at a big Texas school. I don't know how many football players you have, but I'm sure it's probably anywhere from 100 to 300 from top to bottom, from all the way from senior class down to freshman, that you can't do it all for them. What's some things that you were able to kind of get out of the coaches, or be able to utilize their resources, but understand it's still you have to go talk to them? It's not just always them giving it to you, because I think people see that interest, right? They see the drive in you, and then they could go, I can help that, instead of let me go see who wants this more than they want it.
Well, I feel as though my coaches at Crowley has benefited me a lot, especially Coach Lynn. Picking from North Crowley to Coach Lynn, I saw all these wins. I saw all the things he did, but I also saw the person he was. He's always helped his players, no matter who they was, no matter if they played on the bench, no matter if they was on JVB or A, no matter who they was, he always treated his players the same, and that's what I love to Cole as well. He treats all his players the same, no matter if you're a walk on, no matter if you're a freshman. If you're good, you're gonna play, and I love Coach Rule for that. He's genuine. He cares about the people.
Of course, there was some big things going on, as you're seeing the progression through 24 now to 25. What's some things that you really liked when you saw the program for Nebraska and the growth through Rule? Because for those who have known Nebraska since the 90s, they always think it's not enough. But to me, who coached at Omaha South, a very not so talented program in the state, where it turned from trying to make these young athletes men and understand that they can finish. Like my whole mind state of win and loss kind of changed. So I really look more into the athletes, since why I appreciate you coming on, but any athlete, because I'm just always hoping that that story will get to someone and help that one person that's going, man, I can't find my way to the field. But if they just listen to one technique that maybe you learned, what's kind of that thing for you?
Well, I learned to really stay patient. I feel like God has always blessed me with the gifts that I have now, and I feel like I've always had those gifts. But I feel as though God was, telling me just to stay patient and to stay humble, and then my time is coming. And like I said earlier, my mom has been, reminding me of that ever since, I came to Texas, and ever since I started playing sports, was just to stay humble and stay patient. So that's what I would tell every athlete in the country: stay humble and stay patient. Your time coming.
And when it comes to Nebraska, what's some good things that you really saw with Coach Rule and his staff, and the things that they have going there? Because of course some would go, okay, well, they had a lot of their defensive coaches leave. Now what? They get fried, they get scared. But what has to go unthought is the fact that teams will turn over coaches, because the better you are and the more development that you do, those people are wanted. It's not like they get to just stay up under a coach.
Well, I feel as though it's a process. That's why they call it a recruitment process, a recruiting process. It's a process. You're not gonna be great 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You're not always gonna win. You're gonna have those bumps in the road, have adversity. Like from the 90s Nebraska. 90s Nebraska was, arguably the best team in, college football history. And now people genuinely doubt us. Coach Rule, when he was there last season, people doubted him. And when he first came, people said that he couldn't win how he won at Baylor. So just the pedigree that he has, just the will to never give up and never listen to what people have to say is just special for me.
And of course, you see the culture changing, and you see the gameplay. How impactful is that for you, that you're seeing the words become the truth, right? I would think the things that the coaches have told you to recruit you, you're seeing, and it's not through the same rose glasses or the same glasses that I see it. It's a matter of, hey, Tay, here's where our wide receiver room is. Here's where we look to be. And here's where we're going to be once we get to where you are, and kind of giving those stepping stones instead of just going, hey, we're great. Come join the wide receiver crew. You're going to be great, and kind of give you a little more of the idea.
I feel as though, the offense. We have a way better offense than I feel as though we had in the 90s, to be honest with you. And that's probably one of the greatest football teams to, ever walk out of Nebraska. But the offense that Coach Holgerson has installed from, just his air raid tendencies, is special. Many offenses in the country don't have a air raid system how we have our air raid system along with pro style. So if you want to get developed and you want to play for arguably the best offensive coordinator in the country, then you would come to Nebraska and ball.
Of course, the transfer portal and people committing and decommitting are constantly happening, as we had the big announcement. I mean, even today with Dylan's brother Dayton, I'm that type, kind of how I've already talked to you guys, where, people want to play now. And of course, there's you see what Latif is doing, and you see Dylan could and should have one more, maybe two more, totally up to him, years. And then, of course, you guys are coming in the 27s. It's got to lay a platform to where, will I see the field now? And if not, I might need to make that decision. And I know, of course, they see it and they put out, many people get those clicking things going where they put DR decommits, trying to make it look like it's Dylan and all this and that. What is that like from even just being the recruit side and totally understanding where Dayton might be, and it doesn't affect where you're gonna be?
Yeah, well, Dave's my dog. He's arguably a top quarterback in his class, regardless of what the ranking says. I like Dalen. I like his play style. I like how he never gives up on his team. I like his leadership. Um, Dayton, it's unfortunate that I don't get to play with him, but I mean he felt as though it's the best for his future. So all I could do from my perspective is just support that.
Always looking out for the others. So of course you look at your 27 class, you got some things to do there in Crawley. What's kind of the any message this year of your guys' season for your high school? And what's the thing that you guys are looking to bring back for next year as you prepare for your senior season?
The message for me is win. I want to win now. I want to, go to the state championship, which I haven't done in my high school career yet. So that's what I want to do, and that's the message, that I want to portray towards the Crowley football team is just win.
When you look at your wide receiver style, what's some of the people or players that you could kind of relate to, or that you can go, okay, this is kind of where I want to be? Because of course at Nebraska, and at anywhere, right? Like if receivers can't block, I don't think you see the field, right? If you can't do the basics, and obviously you got that from the offensive line, but you also have it from your receiver stance. What does that mean for you?
Well, the receiver that I relate to the most is me. I feel as though I'm a one-of-one receiver. I could block, I could run. I'm a deep threat. I can catch passes that are -2 yard gains and turn them into 25. I could be a little short, stocky guy going to the slot and find mismatches with the linebackers. I could find a mismatch at running back. I could play everywhere. So I feel as though that I'm a different type of prototype receiver that many people don't see.
Of course, when it comes to the game of football, not everybody is always right where they wanted to be. If you could choose another position or do another position, obviously you're like you said, one of one where you've had multiple positions. What would that position be besides wide receiver?
If I had to choose another position, it would be corner. I think that I would be the best corner in the country as of right now. Especially with just playing receivers, knowing how receivers run their routes, knowing how they release, knowing where they break at, knowing what they think. I would just be a receiver just at corner. I would be in the mindset of a receiver. So I could play corner. I'd be the best corner in the country.
Of course, official visits, those are key. When or have you done any official visits for yourself?
No, I have not.
And is there plans coming up so you can feel the atmosphere yourself?
Oh yes, definitely. I definitely plan to, take my official visits.
Because I feel like a lot of people they'll say you really know the full in depth of what you're getting involved into, and what's some of the things. Of course, your future quarterback with you that's been working with you, Trey. He of course is a well known to come here. What's some things that he's shared with you that just kind of helps you keep that energy to go? This is my spot. This is my home.
That dog mentality. Picking a school, I wanted like-minded people. I wanted people like me. I wanted people that, no matter what adversity hits them, they keep going. They keep faith in God, and they stay positive. And that's who I am. And I wanted to be around like-minded people like myself. And that's who Trey is. No matter you can see on film, no matter if he's down 20 points, if he's down 15 points, no matter how many points he's down, or no matter how many points he's up, he's still gonna act the same. Trey is a dog. He battles adversity. He can spin the ball really well. He's the best QB in the 2027.
Of course, you look across the board at your 2027s. Who would be some others that you guys have kind of really grown a group together? I see, of course, we got Matt Erickson from Omaha getting involved with you guys out from Millard North. Who's some other players that you feel like the bond just keeps getting stronger as the days get closer to you guys getting to make it to college?
Ahmad Hudson and Amir Brown and Kenny Brown. We've been recruiting our butts off with them for weeks now. I think Amir is super close to committing to us. I think we definitely have Ahmad as well. I think we have a great chance with Ahmad. He's a big explosive tight end who can catch any ball that's thrown to him. Kenny's a really great offensive tackle. Doubt what the ranking says. I think he's top 5 in offensive tackles in the country, just because many people can't do what he can do. So I feel like those three. I know I have been recruiting my hardest as well, but we still have guys out there that we want. Coach Shorts, Coach Rule, Coach Hogerson, Coach Williams. We want the best recruiting class in the country, and that's what we will do. We will be number 1 in the 2027 recruiting class.
Of course, putting this together and having that energy from the recruits. how important and what do you feel the difference is going to be from this 2027 class? Because we've seen a little bit of it, but we haven't seen it to this extent. Like we've seen, when more of the Nebraska kids got together for once, we finally felt like some Nebraska kids were coming home with the 24s. This is the 27s, 3 years later, but still under the rule regime.
Well, I feel like with the 2027 class, it's gonna be way different than probably any other class, in Nebraska history. People are comparing us to the 90s, Nebraska. So that's a huge milestone, just because, we haven't been recruiting like how we have since Coach Rule got there in a very long time. So I feel like the fans need to be very seven class.
Now, of course, with social media, there's the ups, there's the downs. How do you yourself keep yourself one level to where you want to be, and two, understand that you could be the worst of worst depending on what you do on the social media? I think at young ages, it's not always explained. Sometimes they just go, okay, here's the Cadillac, go and start driving without telling you how to drive.
Yeah, well, social media is a big thing for me, and it's a big thing for, my brand, but it's also a big thing for our recruiting. We recruit on social media, me, Trey, Tori, all the commits, we recruit on social media. So recruiting on social media is very big, but also, the haters. I've been dealing with haters a long time, and you never, like my mom said, you never gonna meet a hater that's on your level. So I kind of just laugh it off. All they're doing is talking junk, which I talk junk on the field almost 99% of the time. So it's nothing to me. I laugh it off. It's funny. I go look at the comment. I probably reply to it with laughing emojis just because it's funny to me. So yeah, that's how I deal with haters on social media, and that's how I deal with my social media presence.
Of course, you have your senior season come up. You said that you're looking to get to the playoffs, but when you think as a school as a whole, what's the legacy that Tay's going to be remembered for as a Crawley Eagle?
Well, as a Crowley Eagle, my legacy, I want to be the best Crowley Eagle to ever walk through Crowley. I want to be the best receiver to ever walk through Crowley. I feel as though, that's what I will do. Just because of the impact and the change that I have made on the school. So that's my legacy on Crowley High School.
When you look at the stuff that you got to do off the field separate from the team, what's some things that a lot of people might not know that you're constantly having to work on? Because to be the best, it's all about continuous reps. What's some things that you're constantly out there working on? Are you working on the field? Are you working, because of course, compared to up here in the good old Nebraska, you get warm weather like 11 months out of the whole year, so you're able to be outside it. What's Tay do to keep himself consistent?
Work on my hands, a lot of catching. My highlight tape this season was very explosive, but it was also full of catches that many receivers, can't make. So I pride myself in making catches that 99 of receivers can't make. And how you do that is work on catching at home, at training, whenever you can. Always touching the ball, always feeling on the ball. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. And my D Rob, my trainer, he always tells us to, as many reps as you can get them in practice, and that's what I do. No matter who's in front of me, no matter what receiver is going, I'm gonna go get the rep.
Now, have you picked up 7-on-7? I know obviously around here it's kind of picked up. You were well behind the 8 ball. Has that been something that you've picked up these past couple years? And if so, what's been kind of your experience? Of course, there is some good, there is some bad when it comes to 7-on-7, because not everybody that can catch a ball can take a hit. And in 7-on-7, you ain't getting hit like you're going to get hit on the field.
Yeah, well, I think 7-on-7 is mainly for quarterbacks, but I have picked up 7-on-7, and I have thought that it has been beneficial for me. Many DBs don't play press in 7-on-7. They don't have to. It's only by 50 yards, 40 yards. So many receivers truly don't have to play press man. So it works on my off man coverage because 99 of the time I don't see press man in the season. So yeah, it works on my off man a lot. It works on my top of the route a lot. So it's beneficial towards me.
If you have a favorite route that you like to run, what's that route? If I could say give you one play, what's that route that Tay likes to run?
Well, my favorite route has always been a go route, but it has changed since I have developed my mechanics. I would probably say any double move you give me, but low key any route. I can run any route in the route tree, so it doesn't even matter. You can give me a slant, I'll take it for 50 and a touchdown. So any route I love. I love every route, so it doesn't matter. I'm always open.
So, of course, we talked and dibbled and dabbled a little bit on social media. Am I able to share this banner here of what's coming up for the
Yes,
2027 guys?
yes,
I mean,
you
we
are.
might as well let people know, right? You know, if you saw the thumbnail for this, I'll just be honest and real as I always am on this show. You know, normally I just kind of throw it together. I never share it. And for some reason, I'm just like, you know what? Let me see what this young athlete feels because I feel I'm not getting any younger. I'm still trying to continue to grow what we do, especially for those who continue to watch here on Wired Access and all the football and basketball, baseball coverage we get to do. But I threw it together, thumbnail, threw it to him, and he's like, "Man, I like that." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "But I need something for me and Trey." And so him and Trey are getting together, and they're going to be on Twitch. It's called Behind the Hashes. We'll go ahead and throw it up here. Tell us a little bit about it, man. You know, you got, you know, you and your boy putting something together, and I think, you know, the name speaks for itself, and it kind of goes with what we already do here, right? Like, I want the stories beyond the field. Like, I could talk about the stats, I could talk about this, but it's all about getting to where you are today and trying to help, you know, others understand that it isn't just given, it's something that you guys constantly earn.
Well, beyond the hashes, our main goal, me and Trey, is just to, spread positivity, but not only spread positivity, give football players a light outside of football. Many people don't get to, spread their story across, a huge popularity of people. So me and Trey's Beyond the Hashes podcast is that we will spread, their story along thousands. So that's what me and him came up with. It was a lot of thinking, a lot of praying. So we came up with that, and it speaks measures that me and Trey could, get together, and he's in Illinois and I'm in Texas, and we could just get together and not only do stuff that are beneficial towards us, but just do things that are beneficial to everybody.
And when you think of that part of beneficial to everybody and the blessing of being able to use the social media platform, what made you decide Twitch? I know that I've heard, and obviously I'm not all on everything. I got a lot, but Twitch to me is just another handle for me to continue to build. But why Twitch, and what made you guys decide for that?
Oh, well, we decided Twitch because as me and him, feel as though Twitch is something we could, conquer on. It's one of one. Many people don't do podcasts on Twitch. Many people don't speak positivity on Twitch. Twitch is mainly a gaming platform. So we're going to bring our podcast and Beyond the Hashes and, people's, background to Twitch.
Man, it's just a blessing in disguise. I think you know what you guys have going on, and I appreciate you just even asking. I don't, you know, I kind of show what I like to do is I show some of my people I trust at my jobs and whatnot, and I like to get feedback because that's the only way you grow. You know, the only way you get better. But when we threw out the other one that I don't have on here, but you could see it if you go look up Beyond the Hashes on Twitch. Make sure to give them a follow; they'll get that going. But your guys' profile page, and honestly, and especially with this coming back out, it looks like Stranger Things. It has that Stranger Things with the Nebraska field in the background. And that was what someone said when they looked at the letters BTH, you know. So it was a blessing and an honor for you to just ask about it and for me to just have fun with creating and pushing myself even further. So I want to tell you and of course Trey, I offered to interview him as well and tell your guys' story, but I appreciate you guys reaching out and allowing Wired Access to help through that process.
Yes, sir. No problem. I appreciate you for reaching out and just doing this interview with me and allowing us to, be a funnel towards your podcast.
And of course, when you look at coming up, I mean, you got your senior season. That's going to happen. Are you looking and how is the 27 class looking? Are you guys looking to come in early on that spring, or is this still
Uh,
kind of?
yeah, most of us is looking to graduate in December and be at Nebraska as soon as possible. We want to learn the playbook as soon as we get on campus and enrolled. So that's what we would love to do, and just love to get our chemistry, me and Trey's chemistry, down pat.
When you look at some of the things that going through your recruiting process, how much is the coaches involved in just talking to you about where they're looking for you to get size wise, weight wise, things to help you understand one, they still care about what you're doing, even though you're committed. Because I think some people think, oh, he committed, he signed, everything's done. No, they're on top of some of that stuff. And especially when your build is going to continue to develop in this last year.
Well, I think it's very pivotal that people understand that just because you commit or you could sign or you sign that the process is over. It's far from over. Actually, it's just beginning. You have to go into college and you have to prove yourself. You're going to be going against competition that you haven't really seen in high school football ever. So it's very pivotal to get bigger, faster, and stronger, and that's what I've been working on.
Of course, you said it's like talent that you haven't seen before, but Texas is well known for the talent. What's some things that D1 coaches or D1 athletes have kind of talked to you so you do understand the relation or how Texas football can kind of relate in some ways to a D1 college? I mean, we think about some of your guys as big as, you're in the biggest division down there where football is life. I mean, it just is
Yeah.
what it is. It's the way out. All Nuggets. I lost him. Oh man, Tay, I lost you. Let's see here.
I'm good now.
Okay, he's good. He's back. So, anyways, have you talked to anybody that could kind of give you that reference how Texas and D1 go together?
I have actually, and I've asked this towards college coaches, and it translates. It actually does translate. Most of the corners and the defense that you see in Texas high school football, almost, I think on average, it's Googleable, but I think on average it's about 85% of those you will see at the Division 1 football. And it's just because Texas football is everything. You come down to Texas and you get developed not only, the aspect of just talent, but the aspect of just mentally. You mentally get challenged and you mentally get developed to be one of the best in the country. And that's why we have so many guys that, are 3, 4, and 5 stars, is because we develop and we produce the best football in the country.
So, of course, I know you made a post earlier today about stars. Sometimes it doesn't matter, sometimes it does. I know me, I've hit up a keyboard warrior that thought that he had the nerve to talk about some athlete not being the star that he's not. And it's different when you tag the company that put him at that star and want to say that. But when you tag an athlete who has no control over where they are as far as who gives the stars, they just have it on the field, calling out 17, 16-year-olds about what star they are just blows my mind. And like to try to put them down in the scenario. And I'm like, they don't make that decision. What's kind of your thoughts on the stars, and how important was it for you to achieve what you want to achieve with the stars? And how was it where no matter what star I am, I'm just going to show it every time I get a chance to play football?
Well, with the stars thing, just achieving it was big. It was big for me just because it was my, personal dream, but I know out there's kids that look up to me. That's their dream, is to be a 4 and a 5 star recruit. So just to be able to be in that position and just to be able to just get big for me. But stars, they truly don't matter. 3 stars actually are that you rank, but almost 350 3-stars are in the NFL right now. Stars truly don't matter, but I would say that 3 stars matter kind of more than any other star just because they produce the most in the league. 4 or 5 star, it truly don't matter what star you are as long as you know that you're a dog and you know that you're the best.
Of course, when it comes to finding your way to the field when you do get here, how much of special teams have you integrated into your system to understand that no matter what, Tay wants to find the field? Not saying that's where your initial play could be, but as you've seen, I mean, we have Kenneth Williams who got his scholarship based off of his special teams. He was a Lincoln homegrown athlete, and he didn't have a scholarship, and he earned it just based off of what he got to do. And I'm not saying you're worried about scholarship, but playing time in general. How much has special teams become, or is it something that you're still looking to integrate as you get going to senior season?
Well, I think that's something that I would look to develop on the special teams. I haven't really played a lot of special teams my high school career, but I think special teams is big and it also sets up games. It sets up field position, which is one thing, and it sets up turnovers. So special teams is big, but also like I told Coach Short, I'm looking to come in and take spots. I'm looking to come in and be one of the best receivers. So that's what I'm I'm looking to do.
Of course, football is always the great word, as you said, all grace to God for getting to play it at the next level. Of course, what's the education that you're also looking for that you've thought of that, hey, I'm gonna be here. I better make sure that I make it well worth. I'm pretty sure mom has a saying for you too to make sure you get your cake, but we gotta get the other stuff done too.
Yeah, well, I want to major in business and I want to minor in sports management. So that's something that I will be looking to do.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate your story. I greatly appreciate your time, Tay. But I'll let you get out of here on this. Of course, when it comes to the recruits for the 2027, what's the message that you want everybody to know for? And then for yourself, what does Husker Nation need to know about you, and what you look to bring to the Nebraska Cornhuskers in 2027?
Well, Husker Nation need to know that they will get everything out of me, my blood, sweat, and tears. What I will bring to Nebraska is a brotherhood and leadership. And what the 2027 class needs to know is this will be the best class in Nebraska history. So come be a part of it.
Man. Well, I greatly appreciate you. Have yourself a good Thanksgiving, and uh, good luck on your senior year. We'll be watching from a distance and sharing from a distance, and continue to be that peer that future Huskers can look up to as far as looking to support and give a platform for those to understand. I know we brought it up last time, and I don't know if you've had any injuries, but remember when you're in high school sports, those injuries are the things that could make you mentally and beat you up mentally, but you're not alone. And there's people out there. So I say this because, of course, in November, it's mental awareness. And I want to make sure people understand just because you're a football player doesn't mean you got to be tough. And then also, if you need help, ask for help. It's out there. Tay, I'm sure you probably had some friends that have went through some hard times, and you just have to be there and you have to be an ear. You don't have to always think you got to tell them what to do. I think
Yeah.
sometimes people forget that if you just listen, you could be that person that would change their whole life, and especially in those hard moments.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Once again, follow, like, share, and make sure to follow this 2027 class for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. They're special. And if you're not on X, I don't know where you're at when it comes to sports. I mean, it's still live as can be. Yes, Instagram will give you those cool videos or those solo shots, of course, but you can't play a whole video on there for their highlights or for the people that they're constantly reaching out for. So, but make sure to check out also Tay's behind the hashes with Trey Taylor, the quarterback coming in. When you got a quarterback and a wide receiver that are building this connection in 27, just going to tell you it's going to get scary once again. Wired Access, we'll see you.
The standard is the standard. We set the standard.